So I've been talking about the ASD Essential 8, and really it's something that every business owner needs to wrap their head around and get an understanding and start talking to their service provider about. It's no longer going to be optional, right? Just book it into your calendar, have a conversation with your service provider about that. But the Essential 8 is only really covering on the basics, the stuff that you should be doing to just protect your own business and all your digital assets. We should be doing this by default, right? But there's another layer that we need to start addressing, and that's your content security and access controls within your organization. So once you're in the organization and the basic exploits and all the other areas where people attack have been taken care of, when you're in that organization, we need to manage who has access to what and why to ensure that confidential and private information is only accessible to those who need access, right? And we do this through security controls, and we've been doing this for a very long time, with computer systems, right? We can set different rights, if you like, or privileges on who can do what based on their group or role or other aspects, right? What system that they have access to, etc. Now, this is all well and good, but it does rely on people doing the right thing and putting the sensitive files in the right bucket, if you will, in the right location. And if they're not, then that exposes you to even more risk, right? Let's say someone's working on some sensitive board papers and they've got it on their local PC, desktop, etc. The PC is not encrypted, so it's not protected. So should it go walkabout, and someone else get hold of it, then they can access those files fairly easily with very, very simple tools. It doesn't take a lot of effort to do this. But even so, they may inadvertently email this to the wrong people, and you can sort of see how this can quickly go downhill very fast. There's been lots of cases where someone's emailed out very sensitive information to the wrong audience. It happens, but the thing is that we need to be careful about how we manage and maintain this data. But there's a little extra steps we can take to even add further layers. Thankfully, technology has moved on where we can actually start putting in rules by leveraging machine learning, AI, tagging, and other content scanning opportunities to protect this data. So let's say, for example, someone's got an email or a file that's full of credit card numbers. For whatever reason, by the way, please do not hold lots of credit card numbers together. You're just asking for trouble. But let's say it is part of your job role that you must do this for certain reasons. I don't know what those reasons are, but you do. We want to be able to capture that before it becomes a problem. So if someone attaches that to an email, hits send to an external recipient, we want to be able to block that. Right? So there's rules that we can do this. Now, in the Microsoft 365 space, this is all controlled through what's known as the Compliance Center. We can set up all these rules to label content based on the information it holds in there. ABN numbers are defaults that it can look for, bank filing, BSB numbers, all of that sort of stuff, tax file numbers. In the US, you've got social security numbers and other sensitive pieces of data, right? You can program these things and configure them to detect other patterns within there. And you can even set different rules to say that sending one BSB number, because it's on your invoices, for example, may be okay. We'll let that one slide. But if it has multiple numbers, like 5 or 6, that's when we throw up a red flag. So these are all the sorts of things you can do using something like a compliance center and content labeling. Now, there's a whole lot of extra things you can do with content labeling, but for the most part, the real valuable aspect around here is alerting and data loss prevention. So that's your next layer of defense to protect against sensitive information leaking out of your business and landing you on the front page of the Australian Financial Review, which is not really good for your brand image. So let's try to avoid that. have a conversation about your essential 8, and the next conversation you want to have is about content security and data loss prevention.